SPAX want from this habeas hearing?
Well, in normal circumstances, when a person has been arrested for a certain offense, being it okay in this particular case, we can talk about murder, which allegations is being faced. So when the police arrested him for such allegations, I'm sure that they had actually conducted their own investigations prior to the arrest, and therefore they are expected that within 48 hours they should be able to charge him, and he should be able to appear before court. In this case, he's supposed to appear before the subordinate court, where they will be able to explain the charge, and he will admit to understand the charge, but of course not admitting the offense. And thereafter, we can wait for the Director of Public Prosecution to issue consent, okay, so that he can actually be prosecuted. And in this particular case, since murder is a capital offense, he is actually supposed to be committed to the High Court, this very court that we are in. These are the things that we have not seen despite 48 hours elapsing. However, the police have actually the right to keep somebody for more than 48 hours if they acquire that authority. And we should make mention that in this particular matter, murder is a capital offense. Even if it has not been charged, he has not been formally charged, it is a capital offense and a non-bailable offense, which is tried by the higher court, lower than the subordinate court. In this instance, we're talking about the magistrate court. So asking me what he really wants in this application for habeas corpus, just from the definition of habeas corpus, it's a writ requiring a person who is under arrest or under an arrest to appear before the court or a judge, just to explain to the court that I have been unlawfully detained and therefore I should be released. So what he wants is to be released, and we'll be able to get, I think, what the state will be able to tell the court, and also whether the court will be able to adduce an order to allow the police be able to release him. But circumstances change, rather. We'll just maybe be surprised that today the police have decided to charge him with an offense, formally charge him with an offense of murder, which is a non-bailable offense. This will imply that SPAX or Kabasomulenga will be in detention until the conclusion of the matter. But there is an application that he has already applied before, the Lusaka High Court, where he is also seeking compensation over his unlawful detention. But if the court rule that the police are actually within their mandates, then that application will be overtaken by events, meaning that he will just be in custody, awaiting for his trial to commence, and also the conclusion of the case.
Just on that, this is a man that has been kept for more than 50 days in custody, and
for more than
provided the police charge him today. Are you telling me that the matter of him being illegally detained, not being formally charged, might be scrapped off just like that? The police might get away with it?
Like I explained, Rhoda, the police also have the right at times to keep somebody for long, days or longer days. And they are actually supposed to acquire a permit. And in this particular case, if that has been done, then
don't you think, Darius, when the police acquire a permit, the accused person has got a right to know that this is the stance in his case? Like, okay, we have acquired permit to hold you in detention. Don't you think he has the right at this moment, considering that he's just an accused person?
Yes, he has the right. This person is not representing himself, okay? He is being represented by some legal counsel or lawyers who, if there is such a situation, I think they have the right to know. But this is not, a very new case where we have seen somebody being kept in custody for more than 48 hours. I'll give you examples, Rhoda. We saw Sean Tembo, who is leader of the Patriots for Economic Progress, who was detained, in custody for charges of defamation of the president, which charges, I must make mention that up to now, we have actually not seen him appearing before court and be tried over this matter. He stayed in custody for more than 48 days, not years, but 48 days, and he tried to explain that this was an illegal undertaking by the police. But hey, where are we now? Apart from Sean Tembo, we saw also a leader of the Democratic Congress Party, that Chishimba Kambwili, when he was arrested by the police just recently on defamation charges against the head of state. Even him too stayed in custody for more than 48 years. So it has been, a trend, and I feel the police probably have been acquiring, a permit to keep people like that, depending on the cases that they are facing. And also, I feel it also depends with, who that particular person, is in society. But that doesn't mean that we've not seen such a situation even to just ordinary Zambians.
Even just before you go any further, even the 26 suspects in the chemical gassing are still being held in detention, have not yet appeared before court. These are the masterminds behind the actual gassing of our homes and schools in various parts of the country. Those two have not appeared before court. Do they have the rights to sue the police for being held for more than 48 hours?
They have the right, because our constitution allows, or law allows us, that we are supposed to appear before court after 48 hours. We are supposed to be charged within that 48 hours if there is an offense that we are facing and we have been charged. But we have seen both the courts and the police also, I think, going beyond I would say maybe beyond their mandate or their jurisdiction. For example, Rhoda, just the case of gassing, which you are actually covering, of the suspects behind the mob, instant mob justice. These are the people from Chawama. The court have not even given them bail because of the offense that they are actually facing. Even though bail is within, their rights, it is their right to obtain bail. But the court said, no, this particular case that we are facing attracted a lot of uproar from members of the public, and therefore the safety of people is not guaranteed, and I will not grant you that bail. You will be in custody not until a trial concludes. So there are these circumstances that come in a matter order, but we are here at the Lusaka High Court, and it is hearing of habeas corpus of Mlenga Kawaso.
Rodas, thank you very much for that update. We'll be updating you from the Lusaka High Court. What will be the outcome of the hearing of SPAX mining Kawaso Mulenga, who will be appearing before the Lusaka High Court for the hearing of the habeas corpus. This is News on the Go. Good morning.
News on the Go with Diamond TV, powered by MTN. Welcome to MBET. Join our community of fun and lucky winners. It's easy. Play just from your smartphone by downloading our app or directly on the web 24/7. Enjoy and bet on top-level football competitions, more sports, perfect 12 daily jackpot, live betting, and quick lotto. Pay easily. MBET. Get your bonus on www.m-bet.com/ZM. Pay easily with MTN Mobile Money, Airtel Money, and Zamtel Kwacha.
Stay happier with DSTV's 2020. All you have to do is pay for your DSTV subscription and you get up to 42% discount. What's more, you get upgraded to the next package.
I won.
Just pay for your current package and get upgraded to the next package. With DSTV, even when times are tough, we got you.
For you, I can do anything.
Now, that's 2020. DSTV. Feel every moment. T's and C's apply.
All right, so welcome back to it. Of course, it is Diamond Live, and for today's topic, we'll be talking to your maps. Now, I'm excited for this one. So let's get him on the call. Yo maps. Good evening. and welcome to the show. How are you doing, friend?
I'm good, and how are you? What's up? You good?
I'm great, thank you. But before we get to talk about anything else, let's talk about your new song, I'm Sorry. How's that going?
Okay, my brand new song.
Whoa.
Okay, I'm sorry. Just as a song which talks about, wherever I'm like Tomasana sometimes so just need to know that when sometimes you do certain things, then you understand, accept the consequences. Then at the end of the day, you just need to apologize and move on. You get my point?
I get
So,
you.
I'm sorry. I mean, that's not. So you just sometimes, but you just need to apologize. You just need to say, I'm sorry. Okay, patronage.
Humble yourself and apologize. But your maps, you've just been dropping a hit after hit. Chaba Shan, in where was see our Shan?
So I didn't want to see her, but
talk to me.
I believe, sometimes you just need to work extra hard. You need to put a lot of effort for you to get what you want at the end of the day. So I believe in working hard and put everything down on the paper so that at least at the end of the day I'll be able to get something out of it.
Yeah. All right. Now, when you came onto the scene with Finally, a lot of people thought you'd be a one-hit wonder, but you've defined all odds. How does this even make you feel?
Well, it feels good, whereby you do certain things and then people appreciate it. It's something that feels more important to me because when I do certain things and then people are able to appreciate my works, it feels so amazing. So, it's just something that people thought maybe I won't. But but anyway, it feels good.
Okay, I'm also wondering, how are other musicians taking, you having hit songs every month? Are you getting any beef?
But anyway, I talked to I think a couple of artists. I mingle with them. When we talk of MK Mark 2, Chef B, Slab, Bobby, Dave, a couple of artists, man. I think 90% I always mingle with them and share creativity. Sometimes I need to get more creativity from them because they have been there. If order to have so I need to be with them and learn about more experiences.
I totally hear you. Now, speaking of Makitu, after the Kwacha Music Awards last year, people were talking about you not recognizing Makitu. People thought you guys hate each other, but you came out and did Wanono together. How did you guys put that one together?
Well, what I can say is that it's music is beyond music. Music is beyond something that people look at and say, "No, it's just a song." But and even Makitu and Your Maps. Let me say Makitu and Your Maps. It's beyond music. That's relationship. So what I say? So we know that, but we just have to keep going. And me and Makitu Tabawa. That's the thing. Yeah.
All right then. But also, let's talk about you and your friendship with Dreams. How is that friendship growing?
Dreams. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Because the it's just that we have some dreams, you know. We did I think 3 of them a long time ago. Yeah, just matter of to let the songs come out. But right now he's busy, he's doing something else. So when he wants us to drop that one, then I'm sure we're going to definitely drop that one.
All right. And then just before you go, how did you get the gig with Zambia Breweries? I mean, make you feel we are Z? That was a big one.
Oh! I've made it. Anyway, for me it was a big privilege and a big opportunity to be part of most Silaga, most premium and the team. You know, I've never had a dream about that one day I'm going to associate or maybe be part of the same company, mostly premium lager, and the other guys or the other companies. So as for me, it was a big deal. It was like my dream come true, and which I always appreciate to work with those guys. Yeah.
But I'm sorry to take you back also. I mean, months back. But how did you and why Caleb doing now that you after that trendy video that you guys had? How did that go?
Yeah, actually we did a song. We're about to drop a song. The song is called Kontama. So, but yeah, it's just something that you know, social media over here. So yeah, but anyway, we are good, and I just realized to say what I did was wrong, and I didn't know that he was going to be upset, and I just called him and apologized about everything, and we are good, and we did the song, so we dropped the song as soon as possible.
All right, so thank you so much for joining us. It's good that you squashed the beat, so have yourself a good night. Have a good night, Jonas.
You know, Muzambia for Mwava, you know, when you do certain things that someone wants to believe that like they will think you go somewhere and get some stuff.
Yeah.
Some stuff, you know. But the thing is that I've been in music for 10 years now. I started music in 2008, you know. Nobody paid attention. So someone is going to talk about your maps because it's known now. But
all right.
I think. Okay, we've lost him there, but that's fine. Thank you so much, Yomaps, for joining us on the show. Very interesting. And Macheswate Caleb ni celeb.
I beg your pardon, celeb. I was going to correct it just before he responded, but well,
yeah. Do you listen to Why Celeb yourself?
I haven't listened to any of. But Yomaps.
But you're a fan of Yomaps.
I'm a fan of Yomaps.
Did you see his video? Katricia, I think they were in Trauma, and then you know they were in a limo. The people in Trauma were losing it because was it? Yeah, I think it was in Trauma or Mazab. Yeah, anyway. So, he stops off at this one shop, comes out of this limo, being all flashy. I was like, hey,
I don't have the fact that he's ambitious, like he's putting out plainly that it's not that you go and mwasambo muti. Clearly, you could actually even hear him laughing about it. I mean, it's not. people make it in Zambia. People can make it in Zambia. So it shouldn't be a strange thing when somebody drops 3, 4, 5.
And this is
hit
why.
songs.
This, for me, that's why I feel in Zambia we don't have that life of luxury. We don't have those luxury item, fancy things, because the moment you begin to associate yourself with those things, the moment you begin to get those things, then you are a Satanist. Rich people, rich people need to be allowed to enjoy their money in this country if we want to see development on levels like South Africa.
But it's fascinating also, Malama, to just know that anyone who buys an expensive motor vehicle, apparently, I mean, so equally, I want to buy a Mercedes Benz, but I'm thinking twice about it. But anyway,
you. I'm buying my Benz. You will see me being flashy. You will see me.
That shouldn't be any person's business. It should be you working hard. It should be team no sleep. It should be working hard day in, day night, every minute, every second. And let's take away this attitude of thinking people are satanists because they are working hard. They're working hard. Work hard too.
Work hard too. That's all it takes. But anyway, coming up next, we of course will be joined by the president of the Third Liberation Movement, and that is Mr. Enoch Tonga. And we'll be discussing getting young people at the center of leadership. What type of a push do we need, if any, so that we can take charge and paint a bright future for the youth? So stay tuned. More is coming up right after this. So welcome back to it. Now, of course, we're talking. It is Youth Day, and we had to center today around us, the youths. But there's been a lot of debate when it comes to us, the youths, as to whether or not we're being at the center of leadership, and is the environment favorable for us to thrive in it? Well, of course, the president of the Third Liberation Movement, Mr. Enoch Tonga, is here with us. Good evening and welcome to the show.
Good evening. Thank you very much.
It's great.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening. Thank you.
I would wish you Happy Youth Day, but I don't know if we're in the same bracket. But anyway, let's get right into it. I'd like to know from you, Mr. Tonga. Young people are complaining, that the environment is not very favorable for them to engage in leadership positions, to thrive in entrepreneurship. Are young people really being given a chance to excel?
No. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I am laughing to myself. Yeah. I'm quite happy that I'm part of this topic.
Yeah.
This discussion. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Are the youths being given enough space? No, the answer is no. Underlined in capital letters. Youths are not being given space by us or by the leadership, as far as I can remember, but are being used as tools for the benefit of politicians. So they are not.
Then I'd like to know from you, in your party, the Third Liberation Party movement, what roles are being carried out then to have the youths be included in some of these decision-making positions?
Yeah, let me just quickly move into today. I issued out a statement. It may sound political or the message of campaign. For us, it's what we believe in, and when we speak, we promise, we believe that we will deliver. We are saying, first of all, there will be an act, a law, which we are calling it Unemployment Compensation Act of 2021, because that law will come in 2021. This act will, compel government to create enabling environment, or what we can call all-weather environment for foreseeable or long-term investment, which will create opportunities for employment as well as entrepreneurship for the youths. Then within the Act, we are saying that there will be a component of ensuring that the sitting government pays a youth. A youth is one who's not above 35 years of age. Now, those youths will be prescribed in that particular law. We'll put them on a pay or on an allowance called the monthly allowance of $77 per month.
Okay.
Why? Because we have a role as a government to ensure that there is this enabling environment for youth to access employment or entrepreneurship. In an event that we are not doing it, then we have a mandate to ensure that the youths are looked after.
But with 70% of Zambia's population being the youth, how are you going to get, where's the $77 coming from? And how are you going to ensure that the money that you're giving them goes to what they need to do, which is entrepreneurship? They need to better their lives in some way. So how is this going? How are you even going to measure the progress when it comes to the youth?
Beautiful. I love your approach. At present, I think there is what they call some funds or youth empowerment. When I was coming here, I had a discussion with some of the advisors of the party called the Third Liberation Movement. We were saying youths are being empowered, probably, with a certain amount of money. But with these hardships that we're going through, what will a youth use that money for?
Yeah.
You'll find that or probably there is no Zesco or another meal. The youth to take that money, instead of investing it into an investment that will enable him or her to retain some profits, they'll go and buy a bag of milling, which is more than 200 kwacha. So the first thing that you do is to work on the environment or economic environment. You fix the economic status. But now, you cannot fix the economic status when the corruption is very high or is pervasive. Again, whenever I sit here, I'll continue reminding the people of Zambia that this is what we have done as a political party. We are the first institution or political party that has demonstrated outside Parliament that we don't want to wait until things have worsened. Where we petitioned the sitting August House. And I'm glad that our petition now has been adopted as a motion to stiffen law on corruption, which is going to be a non-bailable law. Now, when corruption is fought, when there's a law on corruption which is non-bailable, what will happen is that we are going to save so much money. Okay? So much money in the sense that people will stop stealing. Let me demonstrate. Currently, we've got motor theft law. It's a non-bailable law. When you are found or suspected of being a thief, to have stolen a vehicle, you are kept behind bars until your case is over. You rarely hear of a vehicle being stolen. Meaning, when there's non-bailable on corruption, we'll see very less cases of people being involved in corrupt activities. And then the money that few individuals are pocketing will be saved. We shall have enough to look after the youths. As I've mentioned, first of all, that there will be this act to ensure that there's environment for youth to access that particular job. There's an environment for youth to be promoted in terms of entrepreneurship and innovations, so that when you come up with an innovation, you are supported and you can thrive. Therefore, there will be all this money in circulation. We save through savings, and we'll be able to tell how many youths have got no jobs. They are the ones who will be given what we call this allowance monthly.
So it's not everybody.
No, it won't be everybody. That's why I said it will compel the government of the day to ensure that they create an environment. It's not even difficult. We are talking about 17 million people. Out of that 17 million people, others are President Tonga, others are working for themselves, others are running companies, others are old, others are young, others are youths.
So just to get it clear, the $77 will be for young people that are not in employment.
Yes. Why? Because
informal employment.
Well, this thing, the law, I cannot bring out as it should be, because it has to involve many people to come up with it. But the framework is that you have an Employment Compensation Act of 2021. Within that particular law, we'll be able to prescribe.
So how you deal with people that lose their jobs and, informal employment, and you according to your vision, I lose employment today, and I'm on the street. How then do I get back to access? What is the system going to be like? I would love us to get a little bit practical, because looking at it is now, there's many young people, over 60%, like Malama said, over 80%
Yes.
of Zambians, young people today, of course, still searching for employment. And according to this act that you say that you will put in place, I would love practical. You know that there's part that was saved to go towards the loans and scholarship board. But still, there are a lot of other young people that are still not have accessed even a single bursary loan scheme. We had one person that came here on the show. She got good points, 7 points. Her name is Joyce Sakala. She got very good points, but she's not able to access. So how's the system really going to work for you as Third Liberation Movement Party? How are you going to manage to have a wide catchment area for young people that are not working? And how practical is this?
Very practical, easy. When I hear you or anybody else out there struggling, seeing impossibilities of how we manage people, it always troubles me. We have a background as a nation where you want to see a scenario where few individuals are the ones that are benefiting. Okay? To me as a leader, looking at 17 million people isn't a problem. It's a very small number of people we need to look after as a country. And when this law is in place, the act on what basis? Are you in a status where you cannot access employment? If you can't, then who will come in as a government and be able to facilitate that time period within which you are still...
Don't you think that is a little bit more of a far-fetched dream? It's a good vision for a country, but how do you think it is a more sustainable vision to actually work with? I mean, in this country do have empowerment funds that a lot of young people have tried to access. Not many could access it. There's still problems, of course. We're trying to talk about corruption. And I'm trying to realize that you're talking about the fact that you will first of all deal with the environment, the economic situation in the country. You deal with corruption first. Don't you think that this is a much more of a far? It's a long-term, vision.
No,
how sustainable is it for you to save money from corruption and later take it to giving allowances to young people? I just want to understand.
How sustainable is it for me to save money?
Especially that you're talking about a wide subject like corruption.
No, very easy. I hope you understand what is going on in the Republic of Zambia.
Of course.
What I mean here is that we can take a sample of the current leadership. Okay? Let's talk about the recently presentation that the head of state took to Parliament. You have a head of state who is aware of what a political party such as the State Movement has done, and myself. He goes to Parliament, not even touching any of that particular topic. Because for us to get to a level where our petition was adopted, meaning the cabinet was aware, fully aware about it. What does he do? He goes there and then jumps over it. He doesn't talk about it. Now, what I want to address now is this, that I'm strongly, beyond doubt, convinced that the money of this great nation goes into the pockets of politicians. I should emphasize, people that are holding public offices today are hiding behind jackets, neckties, tumafaos as leaders, when in fact they are not. And I can assure you, in an event that this law is not enacted, we will enact it. Once it is enacted, us will pursue everybody as long as we know that person has gotten money beyond what he or she was supposed to get. That money must be collected and be paid back to the people of Zambia. And we shall use it accordingly. There will be no any loopholes wherever that money is, whether it's in agriculture, in education. Once we collect the money, it must be used accordingly. So your worry is, how do we pursue this? What's important here is that you fight corruption, there's enough money, and this money must be used accordingly. So every Zambian citizen must share, because that money belongs to the people of Zambia. You are a youth, if we say you need to access $77, you have to access it. So what's important here is we need to fight corruption, have this money in stock, available, and must use it. That is why now so many things are happening. You end up getting a bag of meme to 300 kwacha now. That's where it's heading to. Because people are busy in their own activities, not to look after their own citizens. Let's take it this way. You're running a house, for example, or today you are director of this particular institution. When you're employed, the first thing you do is you identify how many people is Diamond Television having. You take a stock count. For me as a president, I have to take stock count of my people. I need to know. Not census, but I have to know what is Mr. X doing, where does he stay. I have an example of one particular citizen here in Zambia. He came from Croatia, in Europe. He was called from there to find out at which house do you stay? What do you do there? Governments take interest of individuals, their own people. What I'm saying is the 15, 16, 17 million people are nothing. It's just a handful of individuals that we've got in the Republic of Zambia. And if you're a responsible government, you fight corruption, take care of your people, will know each one of these people that we have and what they are doing. And those who are not doing anything else because we have failed to provide as a government, then must be there.
What are you happy about that the Patriotic Front has done so far since they came to government?
What am I happy?
There must be at least one or two good things that the ruling government has done that you could be pleased with.
I'm very sorry to state this to you once again. I think I've been very consistent in this question many times since my party was registered. To say, if I was, the moment I'm picked up today, or Zambia says we're head of state, I think I might be viewed as a very bad person or a dictator when it comes to dealing with people that have stolen, in fighting corruption. Because I know we are where we are as a country because of criminality. And that criminality has been promoted more in PF. So to be asked, what is it that PF has done?
Is it an accusation or fact?
No, these are realities. Do you know how rich Edgar Lungu is?
Do you?
You may not have facts, but I know. That he's far much richer than the way he was. Far much richer than the way he was. Do you know how rich his ministers are? I think recently, one doctor, what's his Chirufia, the one who's Minister of Health. Yeah, he's appearing before the Anti-Corruption Commission. I think they were. I managed to watch one of the.
Isn't that a good thing? The SEC is acting.
Yeah, interesting. Very good question. Very bad thing. Very bad thing because ACC isn't independent. They've got to acquire or get permission from DPP. And you investigate a minister who is driving with the...
News on the go with Diamond TV, powered by MTN.
Prosperity between the United States and Zambia, and through our companies and our investments and our engagements, helping do that, working through human development investments, particularly in the health field, which I'll mention a little bit later, but through education and other means, working with you as fellow democracies in strengthening in both directions, our democracies and our governance as we move forward to perfect our democracies on both sides of the ocean. And also want to just say that we work together on peace and security here on the African continent and around the world. So those are very important things. We have some, as you know, from some very important good news on the health front. We continue our deep cooperation through our PEPFAR program in the fight against HIV and AIDS. And we are very pleased that we have an investment for this year that will be $438 million, which is about 6.5 billion kwacha, as you know, and it's a sign of this continuing cooperation that we engage in each year to help citizens of your country and ours, because as we know today, global health challenges affect all of us around the world. So we're very pleased and appreciate the ministry's cooperation, Ministry of Health's cooperation with us at all levels. We know that's something we need to move on going forward. We also, as the world community, as we know from the television, and I know it's on your desk every day as well, but the COVID-19 coronavirus is a challenge for people around the world, and governments and companies and universities and others are taking steps to try to deal with this, what WHO is now calling a global pandemic. So our Centers for Disease Control will continue to work with your government as we work together to confront this. We have taken a lot of steps, as you know, in our government and our country, but we stand ready to continue our good cooperation together. As you pointed out this morning, we now need to do the bows and do the greetings, but we have had our embassy staff make sure that they wash their hands very well, that we don't do handshakes, although we want to. If someone's sick, they have to go home, and we want people to go home and monitor themselves for 2 weeks. So I think those general practices are good here in Zambia as well as around the world. So we'll continue to cooperate closely on that. But again, sir, it's just a great privilege to be here and back home in Zambia, and I look forward to working with you and your government as we build our deep ties. Thank you.
Well, Excellency, you have said it all. Because you are not a new broom to Zambia. An old broom knows all the corners, and I know new brooms sweep better, but as an old broom, in times of turbulence in the perception of some people, it's good to reassure them that there is no need to bother. Zambia-United States relationship remain intact and solid, and as it can be attested by your presence here in the country, and also what you have just summed up regarding our cooperation in various sectors. You've emphasized on health. I know, because when I was in the Ministry of Defense, health was number one. Defense, right. But we were primarily concerned very much on health, how we can keep our personnel in the defense fit and healthy, and so on. So, all said and done, I think you're most welcome, and I'm glad that you've put much